I am going to give you $15,000, my brother laughed, his voice dripping with absolute arrogance through the phone at 2 in the morning. Do not say I never look out for my little sister. He genuinely believed he had just successfully stolen my $480,000 inheritance. He expected me to cry with profound gratitude for his leftover scraps. He had absolutely no idea that my attorney had already frozen every single penny. Thank you for watching this video. Before I take you back there, do me one small favor. Take a second to like and subscribe and tell me in the comments where you are watching from and what time it is where you are. It helps more than you know. My name is Nadine. I am 27 years old, and I have always been the invisible shadow standing behind my family's golden child. I work as an interior architect in London, a career I built entirely on my own, thousands of miles away from the suffocating grip of my parents. For my entire life, my brother Fletcher was treated like absolute royalty. He was 32 years old, a bank branch manager, and he reigned over our family empire as if he were a king. My mother and father worshipped the ground he walked on. Whatever Fletcher wanted, Fletcher received. Whatever I achieved, it was immediately minimized to ensure Fletcher never felt insecure. There was only one person who ever truly saw me. That was my grandmother, Mabel. She was a fierce, independent woman who owned a breathtaking historic condominium in the heart of Charleston, South Carolina. As an architect, I was utterly fascinated by the intricate crown molding, the soaring ceilings, and the massive windows that flooded the rooms with golden coastal light. When I visited her, we would sit on the balcony for hours. She would tell me to never rely on a man, and to never let my family dim my light. When she passed away, my world was completely shattered. I flew back to America for the funeral, stood quietly in the back while Fletcher aggressively played the role of the tragic, grieving grandson, and then I returned to London. I assumed that was the end of the story. Then came the quiet Wednesday morning that changed my life forever. I was sitting in my apartment drinking tea when my phone rang. It was Alden, an older gentleman who had been my grandmother's trusted legal advisor for decades. His voice was chillingly calm. Nadine, you need to sit down, Alden said. Your brother just sold your property. I could not breathe. The room spun. I asked him what he meant. Alden explained that Grandma Mabel had left her beautiful Charleston condo entirely to me. It was worth $480,000. She had explicitly excluded my parents and Fletcher, knowing they would try to control me. But because I was completely unaware of this, Fletcher had taken advantage of my absence. He had just finalized a private sale of the condo for $450,000. How is that even possible? I asked, my hands shaking uncontrollably. If it was left to me, how could he sell it? That is what I am gathering evidence for right now, Alden replied smoothly. Do not speak to him. Do not alert your parents. Let me do my job. I agreed. I sat in silence as the morning light crept across my floor. My own flesh and blood had robbed me. Over the next 48 hours, the true depth of the betrayal revealed itself. I received a text message from my mother, Sylvia. It was a cheerful, sickeningly sweet message praising her golden boy. She wrote that Fletcher had worked so incredibly hard to settle the estate, and that he had successfully sold the family property to spare them the burden. My parents were completely oblivious to his crime. They thought the condo belonged to the general estate. When Alden called me back, his tone was like pure ice. Fletcher had not just made a mistake. He had committed intentional, calculated fraud. He had forged documents to present himself as the sole beneficiary. He had completely bypassed the legal probate channels, using his background in banking to make the paperwork look legitimate to a hasty buyer. Even worse, Alden had hired a private investigator who discovered exactly where the money went. Fletcher had immediately used the stolen funds to put a massive down payment on a luxury $1 million mansion in a gated community. He wanted to play the role of the wealthy executive, and he used my grandmother's dying wish to fund his pathetic facade. My brother thought he had one. He did not know I was about to let him dig his own grave. It was 2 in the morning in London when my phone lit up with Fletcher's name. I answered it, keeping my breathing entirely steady. He was practically vibrating with smug excitement. He spoke to me as if I were a foolish peasant. He fed me a massive lie about how the estate was hopelessly complicated, how it was split among the family, and how he had heroically taken the burden of selling the condo upon his own shoulders. "You are just a little girl playing house in Europe," Fletcher sneered affectionately, employing his favorite manipulative tactic. "You do not understand how real estate works. But I got it done. The money is in my account. And because I am a generous guy, I am going to transfer $15,000 to you. You can buy some nice clothes for your little apartment." I felt my blood turn to ice. "Did Grandma leave a will, Fletcher?" I asked quietly. He hesitated just for a fraction of a second. "Of course she did. Standard stuff. Divided among the family. Why are you asking? Do you not trust me?" "I just want to be sure," I said. "Listen to me," he snapped, his voice dropping its friendly tone. "I am the one who stayed here. I am the one who handles the adult responsibilities. You ran away. You should be down on your knees thanking me for giving you a single dime." "Thank you, Fletcher," I said softly. He hung up. He felt like an absolute king. He did not know that 3 hours prior to his phone call, Alden had successfully filed an emergency injunction. A federal judge had already signed the order. Every single bank account tied to Fletcher's name was now completely frozen. The trap was set. 36 hours later, the predator realized he was the prey. I was at my design studio when my phone began to ring endlessly. First my mother, then my father, then Fletcher. I stepped into a quiet hallway and accepted my brother's call. "What the hell did you do?" he screamed. The sophisticated banker was gone. He sounded like a cornered rabid animal. "My accounts are locked. The bank is telling me there is a legal hold for fraud. Did you do this?" "I think we need to talk about Grandma's will, Fletcher," I replied, my voice completely devoid of emotion. "There is nothing to talk about. You have no right to interfere. You are ruining my life. The condo was left to me," I stated, dropping the hammer. "Solely to me. You forged the beneficiary documents. My attorney has the original will. My attorney has the forged deed you submitted. My attorney has the wire transfer records for your new mansion." There was a profound, suffocating silence on the other end of the line. The illusion of the golden child was crumbling to dust. "You are out of your mind," he finally whispered, but his voice was trembling with sheer terror. "Mom and Dad are going to destroy you for this. You are going to tear this family apart over greed." "I am taking back what she gave me," I said, and I hung up the phone. 10 minutes later my mother called. I answered, knowing exactly what was coming. She was sobbing, hysterical, playing the victim. She demanded that I call my lawyer and drop the case immediately. She told me Fletcher was a good man, a family man, and that he would never commit a crime. "He stole $480,000 from me, Mom," I said firmly. "Family is more important than property," she shrieked through the phone. "How can you do this to your brother? He has children. You are just a selfish, vindictive girl who could not stand to see him succeed." That was the exact moment the mask finally slipped. My mother did not care about the truth. She did not care about my grandmother's wishes. She only cared about protecting her precious son from the consequences of his own actions. I felt a deep, agonizing crack in my chest, and then suddenly a profound sense of peace. I owed them absolutely nothing. Over the next week, the legal machinery moved with terrifying speed. I received an unexpected email from a woman named Lorraine. She was the innocent buyer who had purchased the Charleston condo. Her message was filled with sheer panic. She had moved her family into the home, and now the title company was informing her that the deed was entirely fraudulent. Instead of attacking me, she pleaded for help. I wrote her back immediately, expressing my deepest sympathies. I connected her with Alden to ensure she would be legally protected and fully reimbursed from the frozen escrow accounts. Lorraine thanked me profusely. It was incredibly ironic. A complete stranger treated me with more respect than my own parents ever had. The next evening, I received a private video call from Corinne, Fletcher's wife. When her face appeared on my screen, I was completely shocked. The usually glamorous, perfectly styled woman looked utterly exhausted. Her face was drained of color, and her eyes were swollen from crying. I am so sorry, Nadine, Corinne wept. I did not know. He told me the inheritance was legally his. But when the accounts froze, I started digging through his home office. Corinne confessed everything. Fletcher had been hiding massive credit card debt for years. He had taken out secret loans. He had manipulated her into signing financial documents she did not understand. The stolen inheritance was his desperate attempt to buy a mansion they could never afford, just to impress his wealthy friends. I cannot protect him anymore, Corinne said, her voice shaking but resolute. I am taking the children and leaving him. And Nadine, if your attorney needs a witness to testify about what Fletcher said regarding the forgery, I will do it. I will tell the absolute truth. The empire was officially destroyed. With his wife flipping to my side, Fletcher had absolutely no defense left. We had crossed the threshold of family drama. We were now operating firmly in the realm of the criminal justice system. Alden aggressively escalated the situation. He filed a formal complaint with the district attorney's office. Words like felony forgery, wire fraud, perjury, and federal penitentiary were finally brought out into the light. Fletcher's expensive defense attorney panicked. 2 days before our scheduled court hearing, they begged for a settlement. They offered to return the remaining funds and set up a payment plan for the rest, provided I dropped the criminal complaint. Absolutely not, I told Alden. He does not get to negotiate. I countered with 3 uncompromising, ruthless conditions. First, the entire real estate transaction would be reversed, and Fletcher would be held personally liable for every single dollar of Lorraine's moving expenses, legal fees, and emotional distress. Second, Fletcher would sign a legally binding decree permanently relinquishing any future claims to any part of our family's estate. And the third condition? Alden asked. He will write a letter, I said coldly. He will write a detailed, explicit confession admitting to forgery, fraud, and theft. He will sign it, and he will mail it directly to our parents, with a certified copy sent to me. Fletcher's attorney tried to fight it. They claimed it was humiliating. But when Alden reminded them that the alternative was a federal warrant and a minimum of 5 years in a state penitentiary, the golden child broke. He signed everything. When the letter arrived at my parents' house, the illusion was permanently shattered. They read, in their perfect son's own handwriting, exactly how he had calculated, lied, and stolen from his own sister. The shame was so immense that my mother completely withdrew from her social circles. They could no longer brag about their successful bank manager son. He was a confessed fraud. 1 year later, I am sitting in my own beautiful light-filled architectural studio in the heart of London. I used the recovered $480,000 to fully launch my own firm. I am independent, wildly successful, and completely at peace. Fletcher, on the other hand, lost absolutely everything. Corinne divorced him and took full custody of the children. Because of the fraud on his record, he was fired from the bank and stripped of his financial licenses. The last I heard, he was living in a tiny, dilapidated apartment on the outskirts of the city, working a miserable retail job. He has no empire. He has no crown. My parents occasionally send me quiet, timid emails, apologizing and begging to be part of my life again. I read them, I smile, and I delete them. I have boundaries now that no amount of their guilt can penetrate. A few months ago, while going through a safe deposit box that Alden transferred to my name, I found a sealed envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter from Grandma Mabel, dated just a few weeks before she died. The ink was faded, but the words leaped off the page. "My dearest Nadine," she wrote, "if you are reading this, it means my will has been executed. I know your brother. I know his greed. I left this to you because you are the only one strong enough to handle it. Stand up for yourself. Fight for what is yours. Do not ever let them make you feel small. The world is waiting for you." I framed that letter. It hangs on the wall of my studio, right above my drafting table. Sometimes the greatest inheritance you can receive is not the money or the property. It is the profound realization of your own strength. It is the courage to look at the toxic people who share your blood and firmly lock the door against them. I gained a level of freedom and self-worth that absolutely none of their money could ever buy. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Would you have accepted the settlement and forced him to sign the confession? Or would you have sent your own brother to a federal prison? Tell me in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of justice served, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. See you in the next video.